Welcome to a new episode of Bimcast by Catenda. Today's topic merges sports, large-scale construction, and grand plans. What does it entail to do a total rehabilitation of Europe's largest sports stadium while making sure no football matches are delayed or postponed? That's a huge challenge. And how do you transform such a massive area at the same time as you keep it open and accessible to the public? Today we have a special guest from FC Barcelona in Spain. A warm welcome to Ramon Gonzalez-Marques. You face really large challenges, logistical challenges and constructional challenges to solve this big problem. And you use digital collaboration, and one of the things I remember first time I met you, besides the fascinating project that you're dealing with, is also that you were very clear on open BIM and open data. So welcome to Bimcast.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm civil engineer from Spain. I have been also having a background in architecture from the States, and I have been working in sports projects since more than 10 years. So it has been my passion since I was a kid, and also everything related to computers and digital design also since very young, since I was a kid. After I began to do 3D models when I was 10 years old. Because of my dad, so I had been working with all these kind of things from the since young. So at some point I think I was born in a different generation, really, at some point. So for me, everything related to open BIM, it has been clear from the first moment. I came across IFC in 2003 when the Building Smart was still the International Agency for Interoperability. And from that point, I really begin to think that was the future to came from. I have been trying to pursue that since then.
That's really interesting. In 2003, in October, actually, that's the first time I heard about the International Alliance of Interoperability and the IFC.
Yeah.
So that's also when exactly the same time that triggered me to start pursuing this and work on this. But could you just tell us a little bit about the project that FC Barcelona is starting now?
So FC Barcelona is trying to change the whole campus that we have in the city of Barcelona, beginning mainly with our main master building. There is the stadium that we need to upgrade because it's a building from the 50s. So it has been already out of date at some point. And also we need to come up with the new technologies that they have been appearing on the last years. So really football has been changed a lot from the original just a sports thing that the people was going to the stadiums to watch the games. Now it's beginning to be everything related to TV, and the TV is forcing us to be even more technologically advanced on how the matches are begin to be broadcasted. So also the fan engagement is also creating new challenges for the new facilities in terms of technological advance. Everything wants to be connected to internet. You begin to have Instagram, Twitter, all these kind of things that are beginning to be like a regular basis thing. So a facility from the 50s is not really able to cope with all these challenges. So really we need to begin to a major upgrade to the stadium. Also in terms of business, the club needs to be growing their business in terms of making more money from the stadium at some point. So that's the thing that is really triggering the club to upgrade the stadium. And at the same point, it's happening the same with the arena. It's also a building from the 70s, so it's also an outdated building. So you need to also to increase the capacity because of the new sports regulations. So then all together, combined together, they came the project of Spy Barça. They're changing the whole campus sports facilities inside the city of Barcelona for us.
So FC Barcelona is known, I think, around the world as a famous soccer team or football team. But you also have ice hockey teams, you have basketball teams, you have rugby teams, you have handball teams. So you have a lot of sports. So in addition to it's the largest European stadium, I think, with 95,000 seats at the moment. In addition, you have a basketball team that needs a place to play. You need a new stadium for that. You need an ice hockey rink. You need all kinds of stuff. So it's a really huge, complex undertaking, changing the whole campus, the whole area that you own, adding a new sports stadium or a soccer stadium, and the big one that you're renovating. So it's in many ways a fascinating project from Brazil. There's a lot of digital information that needs to go through this. And how will you sort of attack this, or can you sleep at night when you?
Oh, the first thing, I think I still can sleep at night. But one of the critical things and part of the reason that I was involved in the project is at some point the project began like 5 years ago. There were one major decision taken at some point that they need to be doing the project on BIM, because the people that was doing the initial planning of the project, they realized that if the project is not done on BIM, it's not going to be feasible at some point, because all the challenges like playing every game on the stadium while he's doing the construction. So they were looking around the world with the things that the other countries or other, let's say, projects they were doing, like airports, like major civil facilities like railway stations, or for example the Crossrails projects in London. So they definitely decided that the project has to be done on BIM. And the club took a decision to be also based on open formats, thinking on the long term. So the way to attack the challenge was mainly because of that. So at some point I was lucky enough, I was asked to be involved in the project to try to put more leadership inside from inside the club, because till the moment I was entering the club, it was everything done by external consultants. So really they asked me to be being part of the project from the club side, and for me it's a huge opportunity, and I think I can still sleep. I don't know if once we really begin the construction of the stadium, but today I think I can sleep.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And I think it's really important from the experience I've seen so far that the owner, in this case FC Barcelona, has a BIM strategy and owns that BIM strategy and kind of demands that from your suppliers, and that you don't have an external consultant saying this is what you should do, but you actually, this is what we will do.
Yeah, it's let's say it's a big challenge. With sometimes you will try to impose the way that you would like to do things, but at the same time you cannot force the market to do in a different way. So it's a matter of balance, what you would like to have, and what is really the market being able to provide you. Because the thing that we are realizing nowadays is that the market is not still at the point that they think they are, mainly in Spain. So the big challenge sometimes is to cope with the expectations that we have. Because at some point we said you can pick the construction company for many different elements. And at the end it's a combination of all of them. So it might be the price, it might be the technical considerations, it might be the BIM capabilities, but at some point you need to really realize that the environment that you are working with. And comparing to other European countries, we are still a bit behind. So it's also a challenge how to balance that, because we can ask for, one thing that I realized is that we were asking at the beginning for a high demanding, let's say, kind of elements in the IFC models. And at some point they were completely unrealistic. So then we need to really balance them with the market, and ask also help to the market to make this project feasible. So really we are talking a lot with the designers, what we would like to have, what they are able to provide us. So always trying to find a common ground and a common agreement what we will try to do on the project.
So how do you is the common ground that you are able to find very different from your ambitions and what you would like to do?
At some point, yes, but it's a working progress. So let's say that we are trying to help them also to go to the point that we would like to be. And when they are not able to do that, we are trying to help them to go to that point.
So, do you find the help that you're giving, that they're receptive to that help, that they're happy that you're helping them, or is there some resistance to what you want to do? And
at some point, I think it's the main comment will be that they are really accepting that, and they are happy to do that, because at the end they are also, it's in benefit for them. At some point it begins to be when you are as a client, always we are trying to be like in a win-win collaboration with everything, but at some point you are the designers are seeing you as your client at some point. So sometimes you begin to have this kind of hard to maintain collaboration, that when you are the client but at the same time you are helping the people that you are paying to do the work for. So in terms of responsibilities and in terms of liability for the work that is done, sometimes it's a thin line that is hard really to understand how to manage that. So that's for me also part of the challenge of this. Not the designers that don't want to be being helped, is a matter of responsibility and liability, where is the thin line that we cannot cross, because at the end we will be the ones that taking the liability for the things that has been done.
That's very interesting. And you also have a lot of different countries involved in terms of individuals coming in to helping you guys, and you have a Japanese architect involved, and a American architect, and of course local architects. So it's a big. Do you see any like big difference between the countries in terms of digital competence or open BIM interest or whatever you want to?
I will say that there are differences, but mainly those differences are because of the cultural way of working. It's completely different from countries. So at some points the Japanese work on a completely different kind of ethics. They are the European or the American companies. So it's really, that's for me the challenge. Obviously there are completely differences, but not maybe because of the countries, but the mature of the companies. So for example, we have companies like AECOO that they were one of the companies that they have been pursuing IFC from the very beginning. So the kind of feedback you can have from them is completely different than from the Japanese company. But at some point the Japanese company can be in some sense more technologically advanced than the others. So it's a matter of balance, everything. So the project is always the leitmotif of the project is to produce or to deliver a project open to the world, with all that is means in terms of the buildings, that they are really open, very transparent to everything, to the processes that we are working, to the open format it means. So I think that's really the challenge at some point, is to everyone to try to come to that point, because not everyone sees that to be working on an open environment is easy.
From what I understand, FC Barcelona, you are actually owned by the members of the clubs. You don't have like a rich uncle or a rich owner that has lots of money or whatever. And the football club itself wants to be open in terms of sharing knowledge about the innovation of the sports. So in that sense, Open BIM kind of matches perfectly well with how I understand FC Barcelona as a cultural club.
So FC Barcelona is owned by the fans. So we call the socios. So right now the club is owned by 145,000 people. So really we are a non-profit company. So all the revenue that you have is reinvested again in the club. obviously mainly on hiring new players, because the core thing of the club is the sports. But at some point we are realizing that we have a lot of knowledge and a lot of things to be growing upon with, like all the sports, the different professional sports that we have. So that is providing a lot of, let's say, advantage in terms of technology. So one of the things that also the club is opening is, and with this sense of open and transparency, it's opening to share that knowledge with everyone. So that's the reason that the club 2 years ago, we set up a Barça Innovation Hub, mainly to be collaborating with others. So we have our own knowledge that we can share to others to produce better products, better software, better things. At the end, it's going to be in our own benefit, but at the end, it's going to be in the benefit of the whole industry. So that's also one of the things that the club is always pursuing, to be like a reference in terms of technology in sport, on everything that is related to that. So actually, for example, we have this year is going to be the 4th edition to the Sports Technology Symposium in Barcelona. That last year we have like 700 people attending to the event, and it was people from all different sports and clubs. Even people like, for example, something like from New Zealand, from the All Blacks, to try to be coming there to share the way that they, for example, they were doing the fan engagement. So all these kind of things at the end is the benefit of everyone.
It's from a completely outside perspective. It's surprising that a sports club is competitive, wants to win at all, not all costs, but wants to really win, is also willing to share with competitors and sharing that.
I think it's part of the culture of the club itself, as he has been. It's been doing for the last years. Actually, for example, in terms of sharing, one of the projects that we are having is the Johan Cruyff Stadium. It's for the second team and the women's team. It's also, we are trying also to intended to be like a lab of new technology in sports. So the people can try to go there to test the products. The FIFA, UEFA, any other sports organizations can try to make the testing facility for them too, so we can really test on a real environment the products. At the end, is not something that is not beneficial for us. It's the contrary. It's going to be in huge benefit for us also, because we are at the edge of the technology. So at some point we are also taking benefit from that.
Exactly. I also understand that, and this is also very fascinating. You're trying to make the whole campus sort of a sustainable campus. And one of the steps you've actually taken is that one of the smaller stadiums that you will actually demolish and tear down, you will recycle most of the stuff in there. How will you sort of or how did you come with this idea, and how have you planned to make that happen in a sense?
It's basically a survival element. Because we are owned by the fans, we don't have like a major, let's say, owner that maybe have like millions of euros, like they have on some more sports organizations of the States or on the UK, that you have someone behind that is really putting the money in. We really have a very tight budget to do all the projects. So at the end, sustainable not only means something related to the environment, but also economically to be sustainable. So it's critical in those terms to think also on those terms, not only because of the environment, but only because of the economical sustainability of the project. So if you have a major concrete stadium that you are going to be demolished, one of the most stupid things to do is to try to put all that concrete onto let's say, taking out from our campus and throwing away, when you can repurpose that material for the new arena, for example. It's something that it's a need to be done because it would make sense for us if we do otherwise.
That's fantastic. I really like that. It's and I think we've come to the end of what we have time for today. But I thank you very much for joining us at Bimcast and sharing about this very fascinating project that you have going on, and also FC Barcelona is a fascinating club. Do you have anything else that you want to sort of add or tell the audience that
we are happy to be able to share this project and this big challenge to the world, and anyone that would like to have more information related to that, we will be more than happy to share with them.
Great. Thank you very much. I also want to thank Interactive Norway for helping us make this podcast come through by sharing their screens and using our camera to tape this and helping us in all that stuff. They have really good touchscreens, interactive screens that will help any construction project. And I also wanted to thank NTI for selling our product Bimsync, and also for helping the industry becoming more digital in terms of advice and bringing great tools to the market. So thank you for listening, and welcome to the next episode of podcast of Bimcast.
And can I ask you to also just do 2 minutes on how Bimsync will fit into this? Because I think you didn't include that actually.
No, I sort of on purpose, but it's okay.
Yeah, just can we just add it? It won't be added to the film, but it can be added to the sound.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating for us, of course, that you need to have a digital, information flow, and you're using Bimsync for that. Could you tell a little bit about how you're using Bimsync to make this happen?
So for me, the need of having the information shared between all the stakeholders, either internal or external, makes a challenge how you can begin to handle that information. On the old times that you have paper, you have drawings, it's like they say, mainly can be a document management system. But when you begin to have information in the shape of 3D models, the challenge is completely now different. So we were looking for things or tools that they will allow us to be sharing that in the most easy way, with no, let's say, proprietary software. So at some point, everyone was able to open a browser and navigate through the models in a browser. So when you came to me on the Building Smart assembly and you proposed me to try to give it a try, and I realized I beginning to be in the first tool that I was able to put the stadium in and to be sharing in a easy way, I begin to understand that can be the way to go to share the whole information of all the projects. And that's what the thing that we are trying to pursue right now with the different projects. And actually it's allowing us to have like a hub of information that I hope is going to help us to have better track of all the information. The people can have really the information they need to have, and in the moment they need to have that information. So I hope we can avoid the challenges and the problems of the tight schedule that we have between games, and avoid some mistakes. I hope that. And to the risk, at the end for me, the use of BIM and OpenBIM is to the risk the project to the maximum we could.
We're very proud to be part of that solution to help this complex project, help that no games will be delayed, every game will go on as usual while constructing a new stadium, a new campus. And we're very inspired by the complexity of the project to implement new features, to stay innovative and stay ahead of the curve, in a sense, for open BIM collaboration.